them ideas, then they issue by issue. We debate them extensively, sometimes over weeks. And where we not agree, we vote, and the majority, they always carry the vote. And then once we don't do that initial one day, we put together a zero draft to circulate back to the general membership. A lot of people are sending them views. People and we been get concerned about certain things that we will be put inside the zero draft, and then concerns, and they will take them very seriously. We look at them, and for ensure say the process, the democratic nature of the process continues, some of them they will take out for ensure unity within the party. And thereafter, we go back to the next phase, where now the presentation of the draft will get to the National Advisory Committee. We sit down with them, then look at the issues them where people input, we debate, and then we agree. So I go say the process been very democratic up to this stage where we don't reach so.
Okay, now the selection clause where women don't hear but it's still there in this constitution. When I don't put together so.
No, that'll be one major topical issue from the morning. In fact, that's one major thing will trigger the review of the constitution. But waiting we don't say now, waiting we don't propose for ensure unity within the party, for ensure say the party be a democratic one. Every office within the party now, from ward level all the way to the position of flag bearer, you get for now contest from. You get for be strictly by election now. So if anybody feels say a popular for any position where you want to run for, or a competent for any position where you want to run for, by election now, no more selection, no more consultation, now strictly election. However, I want to make this clear that whatever we don't propose now, not final. The only people that will get the authority for make and final now the delegates. Now that make we go now the National Delegates Conference, because at the end of the day, now then get a party, now then get the authority for state waiting for the constitution or waiting for the day.
Don't they plenty concern when don't they come out from the NRM? Una don't address the concern so we them people are assuming get.
We don't be so much focused on just NRM. We've been focused on the constitution and review, and we've been focused on making sure that the views of the people are reflected in the constitution, including the NRM. And we try as much as we can for address the issues where people from all shades of life, when our party members then raise, and we still they continue for address issues where people they raise, even at this stage where we don't reach, because even where we don't present the final draft, people still they raise issues, and their issues then they could be addressed at the National Delegates Conference. But yes, we try as much as we can for address people and concerns, whether not individuals, whether not groups. You know, after the zero draft, a lot of people are sending inputs. We been get about 257 comments then we come in, where we categorize into about 40 something or so issues, where we been get for debate extensively, and then plenty comments as you self can see. And we try for address then comments and then issues then the NRM then concerns then be form part of then 257 comments then they. So yes, we try as much as we can for address people and concerns.
So when this delegates conference also go take place?
Well, the secretariat of the party don't propose January 10th, 11th, and 12th, and the conference will take place now Port Local at the Bible Hall. January 10th will be the day where the delegates then will go for accreditation or for registration, where every delegate will register the 10th, so that they will get an accreditation cards them. And then the 11th, the conference will start in the morning, 9 a.m. in Bible Hall, as well as the 12th, because we really need for look at the constitution, the proposed constitution in depth, let people are really able for debates the issues, and then we agree before we left, because we want for left Port Local as a united party.
Well, that's not the national acting Publicity Secretary at the All People's Congress APC party see they at Tunis, but they talk on that interview with Theodore Arena, but some pandits in them way then they propose now the new constitution where them party they work on.
Well, we continue with the program Good Morning Salone, where they come to you from 98.1 FM, 7:14 at the time for my studio clock, and where they come over to our studio guest this morning, winner Ibrahim Sohi Kamara, Commissioner Domestics domestic tax na the National Revenue Authority. Well, every year the National Revenue Authority, we na den dey for implement tax law them can work with the Ministry of Finance for develop Finance Act, where they serve as one document we can identify with them where governments can spend money for finance the budgets. Close loophole them we can dey and the tax law them and other thing them we for improve revenue generation. Well, Parliament don't look inside this and they look inside three acts them when are the Finance Act of 2020 now. They amend different tax law them when are the income tax law of 2000. They also amend the Customs Act of 2011, Customs Tariff Act 1978, and the GST Act also of 2019. Where the experts for that they now, so as I say, Ibrahim Soi, Kamara. So first off, begin for give you overview of this whole act where Parliament don't agree for this Tuesday.
Yeah, thank you very much, Asma. Good morning, Fambule, once more. The Finance Act na a document where, as Asma don't mention clearly, it will help government to identify revenue sources, and if there is any loopholes in the general law for administer taxes, we also look into them in the Finance Act and identify also areas the way governments go implement sound fiscal management. Mind you, the Honorable Minister of Finance began the budget about 2 weeks ago, roughly, from a parliament, and it make a lot of policy pronouncements now the budget. And one document would help government for raise the revenues for finance the budget and also implement the policy statements and the budget and the Finance Act. So the Minister of Finance now can take lead in preparing the document there because now they're in charge of tax policy. And NRA being the tax administrator can always give technical input and support the policy initiatives of the Ministry of Finance of the government of Salone basically. So this Finance Act this year look into various amendments but I will concentrate on the areas of revenue generation when we on mandate as NRA. You know, the first law we amend, you look at the Income Tax Act of 2000, and there are a lot of issues we look at. In summary, the issues that way this Finance Act amend other Income Tax Act now, the issue we got for do with taxpayer segmentation on one area. You look at the capital gains tax law and see how you go for strengthening and further so that it will minimize leakages. You also look at what to call transfer pricing because you get some organizations when international bodies, organizations that way can practice tax implementation or get some tax avoidance schemes we can normally reduce the tax payments So the Finance Act also look at the issue of transfer pricing, how government will strengthen in grips at the area. You also amend the PY threshold. Of course, if we remember that the budget, the Honorable Minister of Finance pronounced the fact that the minimum threshold of income earners don't increase to 600,000, which means that anybody who earn less than that day, you know, go pay tax. So the Finance Act also make that day into law and see how we will implement them. Then also issue of tax rebates. This is the first time in the tax laws a way will make it clear they for say if you overpay tax as a personal income taxpayer or a personal businessman, obviously you get opportunity now for claim refunds on the aspect and then also get some group relief in the case where somebody go don't pay Boku tax now, the group of companies we probably will affect the cash flow of the companies so if one company don't pay over surplus taxes, another one gets tax arrears. Once they do within the same group, also the Finance Act can allow you to utilize that money for offset the liability of the other. And the GST Act also look into the issue of administering exemptions for the GST through the GRPO, and also make some penalty provisions in the case of failure to issue receipts for GST, and also in case of administering the GST Act generally. Then it also look at customs issues, clarification of definition, issues of raw materials, and so on, and a lot more. So these are some of the things in a way the Finance Act 2020 amend, including other aspects of what do with government spending as well and guidance and all of the areas for manage the budget effectively in 2020.
So how often una can amend the act and why?
Well, the amendments can be done annually. As I mentioned earlier, this is not the most effective document the government use for implement the budget. So every year, government policy priorities can change. So once the policy pronouncements don't make by the Minister of Finance, the Finance Act can come in for give the legal effect to then change this area. So the Finance Act and documents will come every year, and all can attest to the fact say whenever Parliament pass NRA and the Ministry of Finance can go out for educate the public. So now annual documents actually.
All right, earlier you make mention of the classification of the different taxpayers, them we into different groups, them small, medium, and you do explain
And
that
large,
little.
yeah. Okay, for basically we administer taxes. You know, we go to say not to one size fits all. You know, we the segment taxpayers or group them to various stratas because we want give attention, also attention necessary, and also they get the most of the revenue. Also, we also deploy most of resources and they forget as much as we can. So this Finance Act 2020 don't help we for clarify who than a large taxpayer possibly now in the pay the highest. So if you turnover or your sales they above 6 billion per annum, you classify as a large taxpayer. But if you did less than 6 billion, right down to 350 million, obviously you now a medium taxpayer. Then below 350, right down to 10 million leons, you now a small taxpayer. Then anybody with below 10 million leons, as a businessman or income earner, you are free, you are out of the tax threshold. So less than 10 million per annum for every 12 months. You know, so now that will do. But NI also get the power for develop other criteria then for package this turnover segmentation criteria for administer various taxpayers at the various stratas or levels.
So the last Finance Act, we still side tax being there for business people with a 30% increment. In this, waiting a difference now between the last Finance Act and this one, where I understand say now no can down to 25% for business.
Okay, well, done at the corporate tax amendment. Then at one area we also the Finance Act amend this year. We all know say all corporations, companies alike, they're subject to an income tax rate of 30% before now. But government feels say this rate high, and government gets the kind of responsibility for encourage business system. And one way how business then will be encouraged or incentivized for kind invest in Sierra Leone now for reduce the corporate tax rate. So in an event for expand the business sector, for attract people and for can do more business in Sierra Leone, this Finance Act don't reduce the corporate tax rate from 30% to 25%. And this don't be competitive across the sub-region and with other countries in the world. And that will make Sierra Leone be attractive for investors then. And the more investors then come, of course, the more taxes will collect and the more revenue government will get for spend and address the basic issues then.
So this also now for encourage small business people and small businesses then
Is that for
also
grow again, definitely.
for go.
Once you go into corporation, then you get to reduce tax
So
rate.
what if after 1 or 2 years we see say people are not coming to these them businesses there and the one day we they not expand, what you gonna go do?
No, definitely, as we say, not to tax only at the incentive or the area government look at for attract investment. You can also look at some other sectors. And one other thing where this Finance Act do, it give the Minister of Finance the power for look at various incentives and way it go apply for attract businesses in various sectors them. Also, I feel say need day for amend certain entry requirements or expansion requirements as far as businesses are concerned. The Minister of Finance get that power day for look at those sectors and advise how governments can attract people them. So in addition to the reduction in the tax rate, there are other incentive packages and where the ministry can develop and administer for ensure that people can come in and can do business and for create job for people them also.
All right, continue for the between the program in Ibrahim Sori Kamara, domestic in a commissioner domestic tax na NRA idea for talk about the Finance Act. When we come back, we go talk to on the other tax exemption them we don't make inside the new Finance Act and also how they plan for generate more couple for government. We continue the program. Good Morning Salone, where they come to you from 98.1 FM.
We dey look at other issues in the program now. Outside the commissioner and the National Youth Commission, Golokata don't say the Commonwealth don't assure Salone government for support the review of the National Youth Policy and the National Youth Action Plan for help address challenge them wey young people get in Salone. Golokata talk this inside one interview with Radio Democracy after where the Commonwealth Youth Senior Official meet na be meet na Ghana from October 28 to the 31 this year with the theme resourcing and financing youth development, empowering our youth. Golokata been start for talk, but the number of country them we been going at this conference inside this interview with Mohammed Sharif.
17 Commonwealth countries na Africa na they attend this meeting, and the meeting bring representatives of the African Union, the Commonwealth Youth Council, the Commonwealth Alliance of Youth Workers Association, the Commonwealth Students Association, and the Commonwealth Higher Education Consortium for Youth Work. They all attend this meeting here, and na been 3 days meeting.
Basically, within this meeting, we actually look at what's not some of the issues, them, the things them we wanna be look at.
First of all, the meeting recognized the fact that since after the Commonwealth Youth Ministers, the meeting in Kampala, Uganda in 2017, African Youth Process, they not meet again. From that meeting day, then we don't draw action points them we member countries and before can look at again. Then I mean the core reason we make the meeting whole so that we'll come back and look at all the issues and we realize a lot of challenges in terms of coordination, information dissemination within the Commonwealth countries. So because of that day, the second day, we've been getting what we call different caucuses meeting for solve the regional youth challenges them and leverage clear recommendations that we'll go undertake from now on to 2021 before the next Commonwealth sets of meetings.
When back kuna get for go, when actually country them go get their reports them.
The next Commonwealth meeting will take place now Rwanda around 2021.
So some of the issues them we una discuss na this international conference, una they come back now in a country and try for domesticate some of the issues then they.
Absolutely.
So it's not some of the issues them way una actually showcase na that conference but Salone thinks them way una think say they affect young people them or way una as authority them we go una come back for able for address young people and issues them.
Well, one of the cut across issue we critical to the Commonwealth countries then are the issue of youth unemployment. That's one of the issues. The other issue then we will show about the issues of leadership and decision making processes for young people, the issues of social vices as a result of unemployment, but also other social crises then where the issues of teenage pregnancies, the issues of substance abuse, and the issues of the well-being of the young people in terms of their health and the issues of HIV/AIDS, sexual reproductive health issues. They want and they show clearly. But what's even more critical about also the issue of data on youth development processes then, now the Commonwealth. For look at the Commonwealth Youth Leadership Index. But much more the issue of information gaps between institutions within countries and also the Commonwealth Secretariat and amongst Commonwealth member countries.
What's not some of the recommendation them with some of the things them way you actually don't highlight? Say now issues them where they affect young people them across. What's not some of their recommendations then?
Well, one of the core issues we cut across all the recommendations now about the opportunity for many Commonwealth countries in government investment in youth development processes, especially around issues where they deal with youth health and well-being, gender-based violence, teenage pregnancy issues, unemployment issues, and skills development. Also, they ask governments for invest into innovation and technology for young people. We also talk about ministerial special engagements. In the course of the conversation, special emphasis can on the issue of young women and girls. They want and they na critical issues.
With all of the recommendations, some of the recommendations them we actually don't give. One go actually want for ask. What can for be the role of the National Youth Commission and that of the Ministry of Youth for ensure say some of the recommendations there really hold water in the country before we get for go back in the next meeting.
A very clear say then two institutions and they then get critical engagements and ensure say they implement what in Commonwealth they talk about. For we now the Sierra Leonean delegation we been get a lot of attention from the Commonwealth. We hold a series of engagements with the Commonwealth Secretariat, and one of the things that we don't show clearly now that they are ready for support Sierra Leone for the review of the National Youth Policy and also the National Youth Action Plan. They are also ready for give support in a lot of other processes in terms of mainstreaming youth development process for address the issue of unemployment. I mean the level of engagements who they get with ministries, departments and agencies quite robust, and we don't begin see the opportunities then for solve a lot of the problems that we young people have.
So with the recommendations them we come out actually in the conference, which actually you'd expect from maybe the president or the government as a whole in terms of addressing challenges facing young people in Salone?
Well, first of all, may I tell you, say, we in the sector, on behalf of the Honorable Minister himself, we will therefore tell the government of Sierra Leone, thank you, especially His Excellency the President, but also the Minister of Finance and in team for the 2020 budget. because the 2020 budget speaks volume about the trajectory. For example, waiting Commonwealth they talk, the opportunity for investment in job creation for young people, for address the issue of unemployment. Important for let we know say this country population over 42% when our young people them really need the level of attention.
So what you need more as support for young people?
The opportunity for make His Excellency the President or the Honorable Vice President chair an interministerial committee meeting. We go look at unemployment issues and look at youth empowerment issues, and then create the synergy for make technical people and within the ministries, departments, and agencies and meet and draw out clearly we sign our opportunities for make young people and get support and move the process forward. I think that they will be very critical. Once that they happen, it don't show the highest level political will. We already the environment they show clearly say His Excellency the President get them. So for we believe say we go present a comprehensive report and also the conclusion and recommendations to the Honorable Minister, and we hope say we go use the opportunity for presenter to His Excellency the President for let we lobby him and begin that strong advocacy day before the next heads of state meeting and youth ministers meeting, so that we go there on top of the situations, and by the time when the youth ministers and go they meet, then go really able for show clearly as to how we don't begin meet real milestones for solve them problems there.
That's not the commission and the National Youth Commission. Golokata be talking about that interview with Mohammed Sharif after one Commonwealth Youth Senior Officials meeting where be attend Nagana this BNTM.
Right, we continue with the program. 7:56 now the time for studio clock. We come over to Ibrahim Story Kamara from NIA. We they look at the tax and how government, how they plan for raise revenue for support the budget. We the Minister of Finance just go with na Parliament. Well, let me look at the reduction of GST tax for the aviation industry. Where this now for boost the tourism sector and also create job for people. Now I don't exempt tax GST tax from all aviation activities. So what if now that when I don't reduce exempt this tax, but we see say the flying in of the industry they not able to make the money required money we una need, what's going to happen?
Well, basically the government believes say jurisdiction, meaning that if you apply GST when a consumption tax, a domestic kind of tax, now the aviation area or the airport area, the tendency of that tax say for be taken out of the country will go make Salone uncompetitive possible. So this Finance Act don't exempt all GST on aviation related charges. So if I can recall, some reports below show say Salone are one of the most expensive airports in terms of landing an aircraft and a lot more other things. Even ticket costs also very, very high in Salone. And this now one deliberate effort to the government don't take for reduce then cost in this, so that it will encourage people for coming to Salone more. So you're moving 15% from all of those charges like aircraft towing, security costs at the airport, and all them charges away, even for handled baggages or goods and so on, when a part of the cost way the airlines and they pay when they can land at Salone. So if then cost and they all commodity, even the jet fuel.
But remember
then they all don't be eliminated. So meaning that the cost now the airport or for land an aircraft will reduce, so we will attract more airlines in Bokana Salone, and we go make Salone airports be competitive.
But at one time the policy be they will say airline them no they pay tax. We make for stop for pay tax also. We make we be see fly Salone begin come Salone.
But after that law at the time now being a corporate tax exemption for a period of 5 years for any airline we register as Salone, meaning that if Salone gets an airline, for example, or Salonians instead of a company where they fly aeroplane, they may get a tax exemption of up to 5 years from their profit taxes. That is the income they make from that service with the airline they offer. That is different from the charges that we may you pay at airport.
Okay.
Where you travel with your baggage, your luggage, or whatever. The GST element in all of them constantly. Now that airport, where they make tickets expensive, what they make for land flights expensive, what they make for move baggages and for cleaning up the airline, all of those charges before now being get GST on 15%.
So with this
reduction now will make them be very competitive. So nobody will fly with to GST in the sense, fly with GST tax, so we'll make Salone be very uncompetitive.
So you go get for
that
reflect on the ticketing on the airlines and go for
reflect on the
benefits
ticket price, because all of them factors in na cost away like a package into the cost of the tickets, and cost away where the airline they pay would then land na Lungi airport. So if 50% reduction don't take place, mean that the cost of an aeroplane to land in Salone will be reduced significantly, and even aviation costs they relate to the tickets.
And when they monitor the process too for make sure say indeed them pull the GST.
Yeah, definitely, because once this law don't pass now, we work closely with the Civil Aviation Authority and other related institutions, like the Salone Airport Authority also. All of them, the Security Port, the Westminster, and all of them operatives at the airport. NRA and the Minister of Finance with the Civil Aviation Authority work closely for ensure say they implement the rules there and the law there to the letter where you go see flying in and out of Salone.
For pay for things the way you buy in a supermarket and other shop them with the quick response code payment. Yagbadon done for we boss man them. With Beyond Online Direct, you can upload salary, pay all your supplier them, sell forex to Salone Commercial Bank, and watch your account anytime. If you need the app, download them from Google Play Store or any Apple Store, or go to Salone Commercial Bank website www.slcb.com. Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, delivering value.
Commercial Bank.
Right, we continue the program. 2 minutes after 8, now the time for most studio clock. We get Ibrahim Story Kamara Naya. He talk about the Finance Act, where Parliament just passed now. On Tuesday, we go try for improve on revenue collection for support the budgets, I believe. Let we come to still on this GST, exemption of GST on all financial services, them like commercial banks, community banks, microfinance institution them and all. Why would I introduce this and how it will benefit the country?
Actually, if you look at the financial services sector, then get two aspects of the services they provide to the public. We get what we call intermediation role, and we get a non-intermediation. Maybe that could be the intermediation role. Now, them services the old banks then they provide to me and you, basically for enhanced transaction in terms of doing business and so on. That is the payment of money into the accounts, withdrawals and so on. That are the basic intermediation role that the commercial banks and this provide. They get the non-intermediation role the service that they provide where they can ask for money for. Like for instance, you want to transfer money out of Sierra Leone, you want to do any transaction where like this, the bank they levy a charge on you. So the one we get for doing intermediation are the normal banking services of any financial institution or related ones. Then they not get any GST. This law don't make it clearly say no GST, no DD. But the one that we get fee related, like I want to replace my checkbook, I want to replace my Visa card, or probably I want to do transfers, any service where the banks then they provide, where they pay small money for they get the service they and the non-intermediation rule, and then they attract GST. So this law don't make and clearly say banks are not supposed to charge GST on any of their core services will not relate to any payments for fees. So institutions like capital markets, discount houses, mortgage houses, okay, then microcredit organizations and so on. Because we get a lot of problems in implementing the GST Act because most of them can misinterpret. They apply GST on everything right across the board. So this law don't distinguish who sign for charge GST. They also not for charge GST. If you pay salary of your employee inside your account, no GST charge not for DD. You go withdraw money from the bank, no GST not for DD. That intermediation will they not get any GST attraction. So this law don't make it clear. But any other extra services where I don't mention earlier, and then go attract GST. So the public for no say. You save money in a bank, you will take loan or whatever, then they not attract any kind of GST. So this law don't make it clearly way, don't reduce the situation whereby financial organizations they may misapply the law where we tell on the customers them where they also increase the cost of doing business, cost of transactions and so on. So this law don't make it clear, and that also reduce the burden on the taxpayers.
So what about the duty-free privileges where some government officials they enjoy? Waiting new day bottom now the Finance Act 2020?
Well, in terms of duty-free, one thing where this Finance Act don't make clear is that the Minister of Finance don't get the power for set up what to call a National Tariff Committee. You know, this tariff committee get for the look into issues or get for do it encouraging businesses, local industries, promoting exports, administering of the common external tariff where Ceylon are part of the ECOWAS region and then taxes in there. So basically any area where government gets as a priority where it want to improve or want like encourage businesses them, the Minister of Finance get the power for set up a committee. The lawmaker can clearly order out of another committee there where then go look into the issues they have from time to time and see how they go incentivize the economy in any aspect where government see as a priority. For instance, if government thinks, say, for produce water or juice salon, now priority will go increase the welfare of Salonians. This committee will look at which kind of taxes were applicable in that sector, which one they will forget out, how will facilitate government for achieving that kind of objective day. So this type of committee now at a very high level where the Minister of Finance will preside over and go administer, will go improve the aspect of managing of exemptions. And another thing again where this finance I look at in terms of exemptions again. Now the issue of GST on free and promotional calls. This law don't make can clearly say all mobile companies free for make free calls and free data, but now up to 10% of the total output. In an event where they're above 10%, obviously the GST get to apply accordingly. So leeway don't they also in that area there. Not all calls again will get GST attraction once it is less than or up to 10% get an exemption. Then another area of exemption now for encourage the transport industry. This law also don't remove GST on anybody or group of people them will go import bus system above 18-seater up to 10. So if we know say transportation in the country is very critical at the moment, a lot of issues in the day. So government want to let the private sector invest in the transport industry. So how you invest in for let people come together and bring buses them will create impact. I make with the wisdom of the minister able look into the issue and just say people need for come together and not for count on a piecemeal one. So if we come together get 10 buses, no GST charge on that. And most of them buses, in fact, even the custom duty is about 5%, very minimal. So without GST and with that kind of low customs duty, that's going to encourage people to bring more buses that is transitional problems. And even the buses, the money we pay, obviously is GST exempt. So all bus fare not get any GST. And we the car with bus in a large quantity of 10 and above, there's no GST charge on that.
I'm sorry, inside the manifesto of the new direction, they make say by 2023 domestic revenue for GDP will reach 20%. Based on the projection where the budget gets now, the projects are for be 15.9% by 2023. So I remember some few months or so back, ban been pulled reports who say then say government's not going for hits the 20% and the domestic revenue. That's in the NIA because they defend them. So you think say when are able for reach hits the 20% domestic GDP by 2023?
Well, we're highly optimistic for hit that point day, because one thing will come out clearly even during the process of the budget preparation or the putting together of the budget, we identify say even some taxes that we would collect necessarily alone not be the hits the tax GDP ratio definition. For instance, we identify say like if it is 0.5% where they pay as ECOWAS tax, for example, we don't collect that money all these years, but it not ever reflect in the tax effort because nobody reflect as part of the tax effort of the country. So apart from all the reforms that they implement, we will minimize wastages and also reduce compliance costs on the part of taxpayer, also efficiency gains. Then the other area will go for make a lot of money. Imagine the electronic cash register come on board, the ITAS, the implementation of the integrated tax system come on board, and with all of the reforms, then it will improve tax collection and also reducing some of the tax rates will also widen the base. We will also give more revenue to the National Revenue Authority for government for spend. So with all of that, imagine we move from about 12% or thereabouts. Now we talk about 15.4 or 9 thereabouts. So don't go to almost 16, very close to 16. So the moment we're able to identify other revenues from the TSA or other institutions that will not come on board to the TSA, implementing the reforms, efficiency gains and setting, reducing the rate, expanding the tax base with more education and more automation, obviously, we get a lot of money, we go add to the normal money. We call out what we call new money. new money will come into the economy, where go for grow the GDP, and get classifying also the tax handles them for ensure say it reflect in the tax effort. So we're highly optimistic with all of the opportunities there, and also the projection in terms of growth in the economy and incentives that we government don't identify in this law could also bring in new players them. And once new players then come in, the base will be widened and more revenue will come. So as a revenue authority, we're highly optimistic because the Ministry of Finance also give very great support in terms of timely release of funds, would give opportunity for implement projects we will enhance the tax base and also the revenue collection. So we're optimistic anyway.
All right, continue for the week. We will come back and look at more areas now the Finance Act we Parliament just agree for and how this go help for improve revenue generation. The program now Good Morning Salone and they come to you from 98.1 FM. Where they bring this Thursday edition of the program come to you. Mina Asma James.
And Mabel Kaba. We will look at other issues of the program now as way for push the civil service then work before make the European Union ambassador in Salone some Wednesday. EU don't give but 2.5 million euro to Salone government through the Public Service Commission and the Human Resource Management Office for improved civil servants then work. Some Wednesday talk this inside one Musa Kabia Binde and Gona reports.
The civil service na one sector where they serve as one workforce for implement government program them, but the number of them people here in the country, them professionalism for do them work and other thing them don't be one major concern over the
think of is the capacity constraints that we have really deliver. When we want to tackle that, these capacity constraints, the first thing that we need to do is to create an effective public service.
But whose area them this money gets for target to vents again.
To address this undesired challenges, the program has included a number of elements. The first one, conflicting institutional arrangements for human resource management of public service. The second one is the outmoded human resource policies, procedures, systems, and methods for civil service management. Third one is the obsolete personnel record management system for civil servants in the HRMO. Fourth, inadequate records management systems in the PSC. All of that was mentioned. A fifth one, which is also still really important also from the fiscal perspective, is the civil service payroll cleanup. A sixth one, the weak individual performance appraisal system. Seventh, weak civil service training. 8, the IT infrastructure, which was mentioned, website, the training of IT staff in the PSC, the HRMO, and the CSTC. The gender mainstreaming and the weak HRMO's outreach to central, provincial, and district offices of the MDAs. I am pleased that with the strategies which has been chosen to address them, we have hope that with concerted efforts and the envisaged change foreseen in the recently launched medium-term National Development Plan can actually be realized.
Ansu Toka, now the Director General na the Human Resource Management Office, say this supports where the European Union give the civil service. This na step na the right direction, as he say this sector don't they get plenty challenge.
Well, the civil service, of course, as you know, are the engine for implement government policies. Civil service get challenges of capacity, training, equipment, and trying to modernize our systems for ensure we respond to current needs. This project will address most of the problems that we get for do which we mandate them, some of the legal instruments that we will use for make them so that they will be effective and for reflect the modern times. Finally, a lot of agencies don't develop with the manage human resources and the public service. Public Service Commission, where the Constitution give power to. Finally, that over time, other agencies they don't create, other commissions they don't come up, where they do similar work with Public Service Commission they do. So if I say all of them conflicting rules and regulations, also don't responsible for some of the some of the problems then about human resource management across the public service.
Ajibani Ilasi say, na the commissioner, na the Public Service Commission say they're glad for this support, but say one big problem where they don't get now where different government office them can take people them we not can go through the commission.
On the questions raised by Your Excellency about procurement, I want to assure you and the rest of the nation that all procurement anywhere that the commission will be involved with will be done strictly in line with the National Public Procurement Act. we will continue to encourage our legislators to return all the responsibilities that they have taken from us by giving the various sectors and commissions the right to recruit, which accounts for the kind of problems that we have, that we do not have proper records of personnel, and we do not also have the exact quantum of people in the service. When all recruitment has come to us, we will now categorically stand and say, this is what we have as our payroll.
John Sumaila, now the secretary to cabinet and the head of the civil service, talk about the thing them where government don't put in place for say the civil service work proper one.
Let me also come to another very important development that will complement and lend support to the current project. And that one relates to the Wages and Compensation Commission. The Wages and Compensation Commission aims to achieve the following, among others: to harmonize public sector pay system by addressing issues related to disparity among various payroll categories, to address issues related to disparity in terms and conditions of service among subvented agencies and other entities established by acts of parliament, to streamline and harmonize the pension system in the public sector for a sustainable pension scheme to ensure income security for workers.
John Sumaila end up say government go make sure say the couple where the European Union give them, they use and the right way for improve the civil service sector for radio democracy. You know, Kabia the report.
Better don't come. A Union Trust Bank again. Union Salone Banco. Union Trust Bank get plenty product and service there for you. You must get what you want to go better. Let me savings account, ide. Current account, ide. Fixed deposit account, ide. Credit facility, ide. All for you. Me and you. Union Trust Bank, that's a loan for me and you. Kids future savings account, ide. School fee savings account, ide. Pay advance salary scheme there. We branch and they all love but not alone. Boko no kenema, we dey. Kabala mabogo kakambia, we dey. Jala Freetown loan sa, we dey. And my 91, me and you. Union Trust Bank, me and you. Union Trust Bank, Union Trust Bank, na salona for me and you. Union Salone Banco. Union Trust Banco.
Union Trust Bank, empowering Sierra Leonean businesses.
All right, we continue with the program. Good Morning Salone, where they come to you from 98.1 FM. 20 minutes after 8, now the time for my studio clock. Where they come over to the studio guests. Again, when Ibrahim Soyi from NRA today, they tell me today inside the Finance Act. As na them responsible NRA for implement the tax laws them. Now let me look at the penalty for the one that will not pay for GST, for issue GST. We know say that law they been this in a crime if you not pay GST receipts. But now we understand say we don't make a more add something by this law. Now we law now.
Family will all go recall say now offense in the GST Act for a registered businessman for GST purpose will not issue out a GST receipt when an NRA give them for issue. And before now, anybody will not issue out GST receipts, they pay 5 million fine for every receipt we issue, also NRA receipt. So meaning that businessman them obliged for issue GST receipts from the NRA to customers that when they sell to. But the 5 million, this finance act amend them to 10 million, but it don't separate it into two categories. 5 million before now don't go to 10 million if you fail for issue receipts. Every receipt we issue also NRA receipt for GST purpose, you pay 10 million upfront. Or if you allow the matter for Guna court, you pay up to 20 million, then you go jail for up to 3 years. So this they make obligatory more on the part of business system for ensure say everybody they sell to not the issue of asking the customer whether he want GST receipt or not. That offense. The
Or
moment
can then sell or you get threshold way for
no, there is no threshold
buy.
in this case. For the fact that you're a registered GST trader, a registered GST trader and a person with in annual turnover and annual sales for the year, they above 350 million. So once you're a registered GST trader, you're supposed to issue out NI receipt to every customer where you sell to. Failing to issue that receipt, you get a UO receipt. Going to NI authorized receipts, obviously, you and 10 million for every wrong receipt where you issue. But if you make the arrest, you're going to cut, you pay up to 20 million loans and or imprisonment term of up to 36 months.
This law also make provision for upfront payment of GST by exempt organizations and also claim refunds after 3 months.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
For managed GST exemption, we can still get a document called GST relief purchase order. Okay. This is a book where we can get to all GST exempt organizations. That is to say, when in an organization we're not supposed to pay GST by law, we give that booklet. So whenever you go buy to a GST trader, now that booklet they enter the value of the total where you go buy, and then they put GST there. But their books and they we get a lot of challenges in administering them. So what this law don't do now is that everybody when a GST exempt organization, be you a diplomat, be you any other organization or a business where law they say enough for pay GST, this law they say you go for pay the GST up front, wherever it go by, meaning that the book not go for be used any longer. So when the period done, within the period of 3 months, you put all the purchases they don't make, receipts them together, you file a return to NRA for give back your GST money after the 3 months period. So waiting this law,
and NRA they give the money.
Definitely, this lawyer will be administered by the setting up of a GST refund account. When a law where Parliament don't pass law long term, 10% of all GST revenues they collect get for the inside account. So there will be readily available fund for that refund. So once you submit your returns, NRA the vet them, we audit them figures and they audit the evidence that we submit. Then once we certify them, then we give a check for we collect back your GST. Now practice with they across the globe and most countries. And that they also help for expand the tax GDP ratio. Because all the exemptions they nobody hit the tax pot. So coming into the tax pot, obviously as revenue, go shoot up the tax GDP ratio, where you go answer all further question we asked earlier as to whether we'll achieve 20%. So with all of them reforms there, the revenue base will be widened, and we'll get a robust refund mechanism where once you are validated within the period of 3 months, you get back your money and you're able to do business as usual.
So what about the filing of personal income tax returns by employees and the rights for claim back? How this operates?
Okay, well basically we got to call taxpayer identification number. That is a unique number we would identify all the customers they registered somebody in a Sierra Leone. Because for register with the NCRA, you get biometric details. So NIA for interface with NCRA, tax number, where you don't pay tax throughout the year as an employee. Inside 120 days when you are done, you file returns to NRA. You show almost tax you don't pay, meaning that you also go be a kind of possible way to monitor your employer for ensure say you pay why they pay to NRA. Because the only way go make you get a refund, now where NRA don't confirm say your organization you work for don't pay why throughout the period. So if you don't pay why or taxes above the 30% where you're supposed to pay as an individual, once the file that return the year done, we vet and we OKM, we give back the excess we don't pay. For example, if me now somebody will import 1 gram motoka for use from a private use benefits, why I for pay income tax on that vehicle na key? Because currently they don't say for pay 5% advance income tax on importation of vehicles or private or whatever we know buy for resale. So that tax na tax where you get right for claim back what you are done.
So like
once
maybe for example
returns,
for simplifier,
you bring them on when they get back them evidence and then you claim them and they will pay them back into your account.
So maybe for example, if the year done, you can claim tax.
Definitely, maybe for example, yes, because you don't pay taxes them throughout the year. Okay. Now would encourage everybody for keep receipts. I mean the GST receipts therefore be kept for ensure so you claim tax the way not be supposed to pay, and any other side where you transact business where you don't pay tax, keep the evidence and what they are done, you file the returns and ask for them on the back to NRA. And how NRA go finance them refunds and through refund mechanism. They are going to be a separate refund account obviously, and where people in the pay tax, if the due date don't pass for pay tax, you don't pay, will they get effective interest and penalty regime. So then they bring extra money to government, where if not even they part of the estimation. So those monies can be even used for the reforms where they think about for personal income taxpayers and even for corporations.
Because I just want to still on the tax rebate for companies them also.
Yes.
I remember say also when I be one time be the week you make mention of this one also where you say companies and our organization institutions can claim tax at the end of the
obviously.
They ever come into when I ever implement that they
Yes, we implement tax reform through a credit utilization system mechanism.
What's different now? What's different now?
Well, now we begin give physical cash.
Okay.
To people them when they overpay taxes. Accounting for is set up for that purpose. For companies them or big organizations, what you don't do in the past, once we establish say you get this amount of credit, would they agree with you say use this credit over a period of time for offset your current taxes or even your future taxes. But for personal income taxpayers, as we start to implement the reform mechanism, we'll start to give out cash to people them for any taxes we don't overpay during the period of time.
So give me updates now on the current status of revenue generation from NRA.
Yeah, the current status of revenue generation up to Q3, we're on track with the IMF target, even though we get slight variation or shortfall in terms of government target. But we get the last quarter we don't enter into, when we don't put together a lot of mechanisms, including a whole short-term revenue improvement plan, robust enforcement actions, education, and all the rest of it. For sure, say we get the target for the fourth quarter of this year, where they about 1.5 trillion for this quarter. But since the quarter we just done 1 month, October was a little bit challenging. Now we don't come into November. We'll try for recover any shortfall we'll get in the month of October. But going forward, we get the mechanisms them. And another effective tool we get for use for meet the end target now the use of third-party recovery. The garnishment of accounts. If you're a taxpayer, you owe NRA, we know so you get money sit on our accounts, our bank, or somebody get for pay you money, you owe NRA taxes, we order them people in there for transferring money to NRA. So now one of the tools that they will go for use across the board, whether a government institution or private institution or individual and so on.
So how realistic then they go get for be take into consideration where somebody the bank again privacy for let NRA able for no say certain person where all NRA get money so some amounts at this bank.
Yeah, now make we get law, we empower for do that. Even though you get right to privacy, and I also get the power through an act of parliament for taking money community account once you owe before for taxes. Another critical area we probably will get for talking about the taxation of professional service providers, the lawyers, the doctors, and so on.
Oh, we can't talk about that.
All right.
Continue for the week. We'll make let me make small money. 8:13 at the time from the studio clock.
GhanaSongs.org.
They causing confusion.
But this confuse me, boo. Look where Uncle Nat in Wall Solid. Look him block them with them beat for him, where they save solid, and at the same amount of cement and sand then they use for beat me on. But look what in the happen, me wall down for them, all the block they all don't scatter. It like say some kind magic they behind this. You want to know the magic behind this? Now the superior quality, extra strong, extra life and extra yield cement we are the use, and that's not Dangote 3X Portland limestone cement. Dangote cement na the highest grade cement in the country. When na 42.5 R grade cement, when no one day come na this country, and na one of the highest grade pan cement where you go get na the wall. Where you want your concrete, wall and block solid, use Dangote 42.5 R cement, you no go regret them. You go get Dangote 42.5 R cement na online shop and building material store na the one whole country.
Right, we continue the program Good Morning Salone, where they come to you from 98.1 FM. We come again over to Ibrahim Suri as we did this morning for Look at the Finance Act of 2020. Sorry. Earlier you want for start for talk about the tax on professional service provider them, like lawyers, doctors. Now I understand say them for begin pay tax.
Yeah, actually, an area where they give a lot of compliance and challenges. That is for tax that people will provide.
Comply?
Well, compliance rate very, very poor. that sector dey. So wetin this Finance Act don do now for tax then professional service providers they are on their turnover, on the value of their transactions then we undertake on at the rate of 10%. So whoever they seek the services of a lawyer or doctor or accountants, economists and so on, the fee way una dey negotiate for that service day, 10% of them get for be a tax money with the professional for pay to NRA. So if that professional service provider they get for go register documents to the registrar general like conveyances, you want to register a new business, you want to get permits, you want to get license, you want to get any authorization from any competent authority, this law they say the tax element will relate to that particular permit say with the request for. You for bring evidence of payment of that tax say on that specific transaction where you ask for permits. So if now a lawyer they register a conveyance, then pay me 1 million for my service, you pay 100,000 euros as tax. So you count the document to Register General, then you count evidence, a receipt for sure say you don't pay the 1 million tax to NRA before the Register General go even register that document. Say. But then now withholding tax and advance tax. But what you are done as a professional service provider, you're also obliged by law for filing annual returns at the end of the year for claim all the taxes. Mind you, your overall tax na 30%. On your actual profit or gain we make for the period. So all the 30% we don't pay per transaction, you get for put them together, you compute your overall income and expenses, you take credit for the figure of the day. Any net balance will go left for pay, you pay them. If you don't overpay from your account, you don't file to we, would also give you a refund under section 115 of the Income Tax Act.
Anything unique about this? Because if you look at an then professional service provider, yeah, they not get any cut across fee. Everybody gets your own charges where they make.
Yes.
When you want to go to any of them, for let the board they not go come back. So the person we want to go get the service, because how genuine then go be for put them in then you feel where they not go put the burden on the one we want the service.
Well, ideally, even without this law, people always they pay fees to them people here for services. You know. Take a lawyer for representing a court, for example, you not pay a fee.
Yeah, then go pay
Waiting,
because
say,
of the pressure, when I would put on them for
well,
pay the 10%.
No,
let the 10% board and no go can they on.
Well, ideally, it's not supposed to be part an additional tax, because even before now, before this law, people always pay the tax here. So, but waiting the professional service providers and they fail for do now for pay the 10% the tax on that specific fee day. They can annually assess them and then pay a bulk or global figure. But in that circumstance, specific taxes them way on revenues they don't collect during the course of the dealings go find it difficult for recover. And this is a sector where they hardly file returns, they hardly pay full taxes, so the compliance rate is very poor. So waiting we don't do this long enough for let we tie them up. So if you go for any facility to any government provider or any institution where they give you a kind of advantage or a kind of service for a fee, the tax element will relate to that they show say you don't pay unto NRA upfront. That they even minimize the burden on them for pay that huge amounts with the year go down. And that will also help for track compliance. And then tax and they know to final tax, as I said earlier, you still get opportunity for do your accounts at the end of the year and claim the money that they back and pay any net difference to it or ask for any refunds. So that for encourage the sector now for the keep records of what's happen.
Any tax exemption on importer them here where they bring in things like everyday thing, eating for eat sort of.
Well, the exemption, well, in this law, we will not go call it clearly exemption, but it helps for also cushion the tax burden on specifically manufacturers. In this case, people already produce goods for local consumption. Like this Finance Act don't make clear definition of what to mean by raw materials. We go attract 5% duty. What we call input or intermediate items that we then can use for produce the finished goods. Instead, they get 5%. Before now, without this clear distinction, most of them will pay 20% taxes on them. So get packaging materials, they don't produce and commodity them, they put it inside a container or bag for sale. So they find it difficult to know whether that's a raw material, whether that's a finished product, or whether that's an input. So this law don't make it clear. If not pure raw materials we exclusively for be used in process of manufacturing, based on the tariff line you weigh if any self into, you pay 5%. And if now you count them like semi-finish, you just add small 14 days, we still take like an intermediate product and 5% also. That area day before now being attacked as high as 20% tax. But making it 5% now don't cushion the burden on people away get for the cow their inputs there for use in the process of manufacture, and whereby extension will reduce the price of the finished products where the local the poor people in the group
so
consume.
Initially now be 20%.
Yeah, most of them, because we may get problem in categorizing them, clearly distinguishing between waiting raw material, waiting a finished good, waiting an intermediate product. So this law don't make it clear now. We're gonna make businessmen then save as much as 15% for most of the declarations they would make will be the take for B finished product where actually not intermediate or not raw material as the case may be. So then a whole saving reduction in tax, of course, obviously, just in that kind of arrangements there, we go get an effect of reducing the price of commodities for the average man.
So where compare the law now from the last law to this one? You go and say this why I get more improvements.
Yes, definitely. Yes,
this help business system for improve on the revenue collection also and payback to NIA.
Yes, this law bring a lot of improvements to other laws in the past. One of the laws that also will reduce tax rates. We don't see them clearly from the corporate tax aspect. Then even the PAYE, government don't increase the basic minimum threshold from 500,000 to 600,000. So meaning that if you earn up to 600,000, you need to pay no tax to NRA. Before now it was 500. So because you don't give extra 100,000, you don't give extra disposable income, which means that you get more money than you earn for spend. We will improve on welfare again. They will also see that companies them way now group of companies them under the same administration, where they get also tax credit utilization. So if you get 4 companies them under the group, 3 don't overpay tax, 2 owe NRA taxes. We need to ask the 2 them for pay any longer. That overpayment to them 3 don't make, we use that money there for offset the taxes of the other one them. So that with the benefit now to the taxpayer, it improve on the cash flow. You're able to get more money now for spend, for expanding business, or for doing other things. Then also, you put a cash mean that your capital will tie up in the form of advanced tax payments will be drastically reduced. We will improve on your output as well. And that also will improve for profitability, encourage people for invest, and widen the economy as the case may be.
Continue for David Sway, Ibrahim Suri from NIA.
We look at other issues in the program now. Inside 2014, Salone government did set up the National Public Procurement Authority as way for advise government on public procurement issue them. And over the past year, this authority don't they get plenty challenge with them work. We make the authority don't pull the standard bidding documents na do. Also the Commissioner for the Anti-Corruption Commission, Francis Benkefala, go talk say if procurement business gets standard na Salone, that's going to reduce corruption to 50%. Osman Kamara gets more on this and go reports.
People when a procurement officer working in a different ministry, department and agency them can get big role for play as way for tap corruption na Salone. And some time back, some people can point and pardon people here say that then they contribute for make corruption then a Salone because they not can do the right procurement for the institution them. This being time, the National Public Procurement Authority NPPA don't pull the standards bidding documents na do as we for guide procurement officer them for do them work. Brahma Soare, na the chief executive for the National Public Procurement Authority, inside in statement is say procurement officer them supposed for prevent corruption na the country.
Procurement is a profession, very decent and honorable profession. A profession who decides to ensure we want to see the dynamics of our country change, we can do. Of course, a lot of people think we do regulating, but to be very, very honest, the regulator is the preventive arm of corruption. We just the preventive arm of corruption. And at the same time, we professionals to ensure the things are done properly. I know exactly our challenges because I was part of you till the day I was chief executive. So if you see me specifically trying to be part of a change that will protect all of us.
We be the talk. The Commissioner for the Anti-Corruption Commission, Francis Benkefala, say the procurement sector now one way they contribute for make people involved in corruption.
I first of all subscribe to the view that if we get procurement right, we would have reduced corruption in Sierra Leone by 50%. Procurement is the foundation, is the mother of all corruption. And one area that has held this country to ransom, with all due respect to all of you sitting in this room, is procurement. We agree you operate in a very difficult circumstance, you have powers hanging, breathing over your neck. When somebody is corrupt and powerful, it is the most difficult person to deal with because he has both power and is corrupt. You are there serving not only yourselves and your country, but having a sacred duty to prevent what could go wrong in the future. And if you take that role very seriously, you can help this country.
Francis Ben Kaifala, Commissioner at the Anti-Corruption Commission, Simweso say, because of the bad procurement process, where some procurement officer then can do, make foreigner and other people them, don't they take the country in resources and carry go other country.
What this country loses to procurement is enormous. As we sit here in this room, you all know amongst yourselves that many have become millionaires by merely being procurement officers. By the shady deals and the contracts they make, the agreements they make with bidders, the leakages they make to them, the corrections they make to their bidding documents so that it can be the best. Various businessmen, foreigners, have taken advantage of the weakness in our procurement regime to destroy this country and enrich themselves. But you see, there has to be a cutoff point. So do not look at the example of the man who was procurement officer before you, who now owns 5 houses, and you think you have to take advantage of that to do the same. The line has been drawn.
Brahma Soare, Chief Executive for the National Public Procurement Authority, end up call on procurement officer then a different ministry, department and agency them, not for mixed and corruption, and self-work according to the standards bidding documents, where the authority don't pull na do. For the Society for Radio Democracy, Mina Usman Kamara, the report.
Right, the program Good Morning Salone, they continue, and we still get Ibrahim Sori Kamara at the studio from the Domestic Tax Revenue Department na NRA. They tell me this morning about the 2020 Finance Act. We continue with the program Good Morning Salone. We're going to look at messages them shortly.
All right, Ibrahim, so let we look at for popularize this act. So plenty thing where you don't talk, like employee no be no say, no go no, not all employee go no say for return tax now into the one I don't put into this act. How wanna for popularize this act?
Well, we get for embark on massive tax education. What do they do? They target specific sectors. Will they target both the private and public sector, the diplomatic missions, the exempt organizations, and so on. So they develop a kind of sensitization plan specifically for this act. Then we also go for develop administrative processes and procedures for implement the act fully, because we're all aware of the fact that people then get gap in terms of knowledge as to how then go access some of the tax advantages them where this law don't make and other previous laws them. So the NI get for commit resource system. We don't start an out today as Adinaya. So therefore get a lot of paid up programs them, a lot of workshops, a lot of seminars, one-on-one tax engagement with various stakeholders them for educate them and inform them as to how they go about for benefits from the facilities of the tax act don't bring.
So the outstanding issues of bread and butter, how all of this go get for play in terms of waiting the people and wants now, we now the bread and butter we then focus on.
Yeah, well, this act here, as I don't talk earlier, they bring a lot of savings on the part of the businessman because of the reduction in the rates. Obviously, give more disposable income to the business people then. Then we also see the PY threshold for the fact say the minimum threshold don't be adjusted also, meaning that disposable income to the taxpayer will also be enhanced. And if you look at the amendments in the definition of various inputs or materials for custom purposes, we reduce also the taxes they would pay. Now the key at the time will also improve, reduce prices, and also go improve the welfare of people. Then, so looking at all of these, obviously, it will give opportunity for people then for enhance the disposable income, and even the tax rebate mechanism. If you don't work for the whole year, you don't sell for the whole year, you send it also, and I give back some money. Then it also add to your welfare for also address your basic bread and butter issues.
All right, we go look at messages them where you don't send through text message and also on the Facebook page. David Mikja on Facebook said the law is really good. Now NIA needs a technology that can do tagging and tracking of these services in real times and taxonomy to ensure real-time interface between businesses, clients, NIA in real times as well. We can help if you need our services.
All right, this other message say please explain the pay tax paid by civil servants in ministries, departments, and agencies, how do they calculate the 30% and the rebate when receipt of payee is not given to employees?
Also, Julius Amara Gambai on Facebook say, I'm really impressed about his knowledge with regards to his job, an intelligence commissioner.
This other one say, Mr. Commissioner, what's the exact services that will attract GST in the bank industry?
From NZ on Facebook say, the 2020 financial year is probably going to be the toughest one. From analysis, it's not going to be an austerity budget, but it could leave people's feeling sore and disappointed if failed to apply required fiscal discipline. The problem could be getting the balance right so that people don't become unrealistic in either expectation of how much the ambitious budgets can give them. If well implemented, it will deliver a small boost that encourages businesses and consumers to be more confident about the bread and butter economy and their own particular circumstances.
Alright, this other one say, Mr. Ibrahim, sorry, how will you know that the businessman had made a sale and didn't issue a GST receipt? From Rogers Nakabatong.
This other message say, is say talk and go, talk and come this financial act, much improvements there. I only hope they go implement them and businesses will thrive.
This other one from Samure is say, how many percent tax of GST is taken from salaries of employees?
Hassan Manso Kagbo, he said the last statement he made at this very studio about tax has not been implemented. Why should we believe anything he is saying? Boduya, it comes from Hassan Manso Kagbo.
Alright, the final one, when we go look at now because of time, the person say what happens in a situation where a GST receipt a GST registered company is unable to make an annual turnover. Is the company entitled to a refund?
Other message from Adeyemi Johnson from Australia say, so at the end of the fiscal year, how would one know his tax return? More message we don't come. This other one say, he say, well done to the guys at the Ministry of Finance. This well put together document will help improve the lives of Sierra Leoneans. David McJar said this will solve the challenges of lost receipts. Also, it can still reflect as an exempt, yet ensure that NIA has both GST and GST exempt person or institution. Few more message we go read. Say, well done to you, Ibrahim Sohi. When it comes to tax, you are indeed the expert. Brilliant explanation this morning. Abu B. Kamara on Facebook say, paying tax is the responsibility of citizens of any nation. It would be nice if one can get refund if possible. Alright, well, we come over to we studio guest this morning with this last message from Aliu. I know you don't want us to educate our people how. Alright, Ibrahim Sohi. Well, me producer say time don't reach for walkabout.
Morning, ate tolle manga, ate tolle, ate this talk what they are to tell million fly go now to me account that in a what they left yesto ate the use go they come meet me man naya the thing to meet a fatebo. This now necessary drama boy and contract of people go pan. Boy, you know you take this. Me not take our not to case done. But where big man want to reach up 90 to the man. Nadame put the tail, journalist people not for play with them all. Let them left, let them do the work. Ate where move yanda. Pambu. I little to play party. Don't think that in constitution. And as I say right now, we bring that the try for handover. The man that we don't begin pull pretty bien tempo come and can take this is not correct. Ate Uncle Richard money no, ate money. Ate when I the talk to Uncle Richard, Namawa I need for the what critically. Ate police the now without cut down and try to posting then go boom whoa. Te nakalbatong yan and posting the tell me te what about it's a between display no kotoda. Not the thing don't pass mark, you pass na coach now them not to the chance go to meet you. Now the one that say but waiting this. Me na yona yebu akabot.
Right, well, we come over to we studio guest. If I'm sorry for respond to text messages there.
Yeah, thank you very much, listeners and viewers, for the text messages. I'll try to respond to them briefly. The first one talk about technology. Obviously, NRA no lose sight of the fact that for later we're able to implement them provisions there for be technologically inclined. Now that make we get various programs. Them we get the integrated tax administration system. We get the cash register machines where they roll out next year for support all the implementations there. So we forget real-time monitoring, real-time payments, real-time filing of returns, all them things. So talk about tax refunds or whatever. If you not get them fully automated and we not get reliable information based and evidence based transactions, obviously it will be very difficult to administer. And we could even interface to the NCRA as I mentioned earlier. So biometrically we'll verify who that make the claim, and we'll get documents for track it, audit trail for track transactions, and get them comprehensively done for effect time. Somebody also talked about the pay whites and taxes paid by MDAs. How they go know? The MDAs obviously you get some of them way now. The accountant general they pay their salaries. Them. You get some of their way now. Then they pay them. So one thing what this law get for do is that even you as an employee, you get for be also part of the process for NI for monitor your employer for ensure that they pay them PAYR to NI on time. Because when they are done, we file returns. Obviously, we go for check whether the money be kind in the first place, and we go for ensure say we process you request and we refund the money give you. So this will also minimize the situations where employers and they hold on to government money, they not pay unto NRA, and pass go for audit and investigate them for them do them. So and that can be enhanced. So once that is done, obviously the employee now go code their numbers in there, and I make even you pay slip. The tax always indicated there. So NRA for incompetent tax and they also you overpay we refund and give, and based on them till they will for get into place. Then the services, financial services that will attract GST in the banking sector, of course, I'm making clearly to now say anything we for do with fee-based services go attract GST. And in that case, like for instance, you request for checkbook, you want to do transfers, you want to forget an ATM card, anything where you pay fee for, definitely GST will do it. But anything they pay fee for, just not do it. And somebody asks about salary GST, there is no GST on salary where you go pay you money account at the bank. If you withdraw money at the bank will charge GST. Any bank will charge GST on the salary we put on the account or withdrawal, definitely report that to NRA, and NRA will do an audit and try to make sure they give back your money when you're not supposed to take it. Then in terms of implementing of the Act, job creation and bread and butter issue, obviously that will naturally come out of the whole show, because the moment we give a rebate go enhance your productivity. The moment government set up a tariff committee for looking to the various tax system and outside tax not for them pull outside for reduce them, that will also improve welfare by making people for spend less, and that will also improve disposable income of people and so on. Then why for believe? Obviously this time for believe say NI will implement, because all of the activities they are will get for cost them in terms of implementation, they will get for attach revenue numbers to them. And the targets for next year are also very, very challenging, and NI will sit down as a no decision for city taxes going astray, will not try to pick them up. So with the automation, the education, and all the improvements in the administrative mechanisms or gadgets, them will get you to the point at which government will get the money we need for next year implementation. And one way also would therefore help people in terms of filing of returns, we get also called domestic tax preparer scheme, where they roll out next year, where they get people who go for train, who license them, now then get for the meet you one-on-one for happy for complete returns for filer and so on. So then people are going to charge a very small fee for their service there, just like any side of the world, where you get a small kiosk on site, a small cubicle, where you get them people are where I go down train a license we will help you. Just count the documents into them, then go share for them, we'll fill the form for you, they do the computations, then file a request. Okay, you don't get TIN number, your TIN number attached to your biometric data, and we'll get audit trail through the system we don't develop and all the tracking of transactions and validation of all of them claims, and they go warrant you for getting money back, as the case may be. So preparers and go there for help with all of that, and that will also help.
Ibrahim, sorry, customs now a key back for in this act in this new law them where they don't make because I also understand they amend also the customs amendments. So tell me about the benefits now, because we don't see people where they clear goods now that customs always they complain, but all the processes so till them pull then goods then come out now attacking. So waiting at the good news when they inside these amendments.
Well, I don't mention already some of the provisions the way the Customs Act gets at this law. Them classification issues in terms of material importation definitely will be cleared. We will enhance people for better declare and so on. We get the issue of the real-time lodgement of declaration, so we'll minimize the one-on-one contact with the custom officials or NI officials. Basically, we will reduce time and cost of doing business also. So they are covered by this act. So improving the efficiency of business, we also enhance taxpayers in terms of savings and the rest of it. But what people have also know at this point is that not only NI that they play at the customs controlled areas. We get people like the Port Authority, we get the Standards Bureau people, we get the client agents, a lot more players in DD. So the moment we themselves not try for align their own operations in line with NRA's vision and aspirations, obviously, people can also get that negative impact of them. So one thing we NRA they work together with some other partners then for create the single window, whereby all man will be lodged at the same platform, all man know what's impossible to do, all man know the stages, all man monitor everything together, and the cost them, align the cost them, reduce the taxes them, avoid duplications of charges them across the board. We will reduce the cost of clearing, we will also reflect on the welfare
as
people.
So they wrap up now, 2019 go done in about 6 weeks. When I hit the targets.
Yeah, we're very optimistic for me to target at the end of the year. As I say, we don't develop a lot of programs them where they implement. And one key drive or they robustly embark on for me this again now the issue of enforcement. So I also advise people them say, not allow NIA go garnish your account to clear your account. If you get issues with NIA, you get money for pay, come up and negotiate a payment plan within the time frame where you go acceptable by the Commissioner General. So and would they get for also embark on education, get for about one-on-one monitoring of taxpayers, compliance. That will also help we forget the target at the end of 2019.
All right, many thanks to Canada Studio this morning for explaining to people some of the major things where they inside the 2020 Finance Act. That's na Ibrahim Story Kamara, Domestic Tax Revenue Department Commissioner na the NRA, where been talk to about the 2020 Finance Act. Thanks for coming in the program this morning.
Thanks for hosting me.
Now, this edition of the program, Good Morning Salone, plenty thank you to the producer, them, Alex Lawrence Kroma and Michael Sambola, DJ Lava, we give you technical support. Moses Cabra and Insime Kuna CB Live na Facebook. And get yourself a wonderful day. Continue for listening to Radio Democracy as we get more programs during the day. Maybe we'll say goodbye.
Minas Majid, James, they say goodbye.